Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have discussed on this platform what President Donald Trump would mean to the world. And I think most of us did not expect a lot of good to come out of America during his presidency. But what we have witnessed in his year in office, in his second term, has really surprised the world. He has rocked the world. Like it or not, his America First has made everybody to turn around and forget the, what had ruled the world ever since the Second World War in particular, this win-win cooperation spirit. Doing unto others as you would want them to do unto you. When you say America first, all you're saying is I don't care about anybody else. I only care about what is good for me. And when you start taking that kind of attitude, and you are in a position of power and authority, then everybody else will react and say, well, okay, what choice do I have? None. I too have got to start looking at me, what is in my own personal interest. And this has destroyed the spirit of working together. This do unto others as you'd want them to do unto you is undermined when you start having that inward-looking attitude. And what should be also be emphasized here is that as much as President Donald Trump thought he was going to make America great again, the reality is, I don't think America is greater than it was before he came into office. There are endless problems that America has had. And as for the working with everybody else, the trust is gone. And rebuilding it is a lot more difficult. And this reminds one of the saying that it is easier to destroy than to build. You should not fix what is not broken. The truth of the matter is, President Donald Trump has broken the world order. He didn't fix it, he broke it.
Hey to everybody, thank you for joining us. I think when Donald Trump was elected, whilst he was still president-elect, we on this channel here did a live, discussion about what to expect. And I think you and I, Wilbert, we agreed that we are going to be in serious trouble. The whole world order is going to feel Donald Trump, because that is the kind of person that he is. He is somebody that can make very rash decisions. It's as if he does not really think through it. And, 1 minute you can be friendly. After shaking hands, the next thing he's gone the exact opposite. And whilst we were discussing, we actually took the step and warned the world to say, we have been comfortable. Now here comes a man that is going to shake things up. Are we preparing, or are we prepared for it? And lo and behold, he has really shaken everything. Be it the tariffs war, be it making America great again, arrests in sovereign, nations, bombing, and so forth. It's who he is, and we expected it, and we also expected the world to be preparing and be prepared for a very, very difficult time during his reign, because Donald Trump, that is who he is. Friend, foe, he really doesn't care about that, as long as he gets his way at the end of the day. Though sometimes, like you said, he's been saying making America great, but the signs and the symptoms do not show any greatness. Instead, we are now seeing weaknesses where friends, once countries that were friendly and allies, are now slowly backing away, and that friendship is turning into a really, really bad nightmare.
Well, here is a video clip from BBC showing some of the events taking place in America right now, where President Trump's federal agents are literally declaring war on ordinary American citizens.
The first video we have of Alex Pretty, he's in the road, holding a phone and talking with a federal agent. The officer pushes him, and he steps backwards. Kristi Noem is US Homeland Security Secretary. This is her account of why Alex Pretty died.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently.
But in this video, as in others, Alex Pretty had nothing in one hand, a phone in the other. We see two people interacting with an agent. We then see an agent push one of those people, then push the second person. Alex Pretty steps between them and the agent and is pepper sprayed. He's wrestled to the ground by a number of agents. He's on his knees, bent over. His hands are on the floor, and he's struggling against being held down. One agent repeatedly strikes in the direction of his head. And take note of this agent. He has nothing in his right hand, reaches down, and removes what appears to be a gun from Alex Pretty's waistband. Then he steps back, holding the pistol, which appears to match this image shared by the authorities. Carrying this type of gun is legal in Minnesota, valid permit. The police say they believe Alex Pretty had one. Less than a second after the gun is removed, an agent fires the first shot. As Alex Pretty lies motionless, further shots are fired while agents are standing clear of his body. In total, 10 shots were fired in 5 seconds. In all of these videos, we don't see Alex Pretty holding a gun. But once more, we have seen an American killed in the street by federal agents, followed by the Trump administration making claims about what happened.
This is not making America great. Let's be honest about that. America is now at war with itself and with the rest of the world. This is tragic. Some of these things is a matter of trust. When you've destroyed that trust, restoring it is a serious challenge. Easier said than done.
It's sad that, we get to see images and we get to share images of somebody losing their lives. But this is the reality, that we are now living in. My biggest issue is, you know, a once great state, one that was leading by example, if it is now behaving like, you know, for example, how Zimbabwe behaves, and taking into consideration that we had such, you know, things happen where in August of I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, it was in sometime in August, just after the election, where we saw, you know, soldiers gun down Zimbabweans. If America is doing it, it then tends to be acceptable for the whole world and other dictators out there to do it. You cannot now go and say what you are doing is wrong in you know, for example, in Nigeria, that you are killing Christians, whilst your own army and your own agents are killing your own people. You know, those, we expected America to be the example, a country that would be protecting the weak. But now we are seeing they have joined the, you know, the crew of killing people. So which means that most citizens in the entire world are now on their own. Because when we want to stop dictators and we want to fight for democracy, we cannot then because have somebody protect us, because that same very person is killing. It's really sad to see that America, a once great democratic nation, is turning into somewhat of the exact opposite that she once was. It's really, really sad for me.
I think one of the bad things that President Trump has done is make enemies with even his own former allies. Countries like Canada, Europe, Mexico, who had worked with America and they had considered America an ally, and he seemed to have turned against them. Here is an opinion being expressed by one of the European leaders on the relationship between Europe and America.
He can play with us. He can make us slaves because we actually are slaves then. And we'll have to take for granted whatever he does. And we've been accustomed to very nice presidents like Obama. And we haven't noticed that the shift in America is not bound to one presidency. It's a structural shift. The face of America has turned to the Pacific. Their backside is turned to the Atlantic. And that will not change after Trump. It's a structural thing. So it's up to us, I think, not to complain about Trump because you say you will get all the attention tomorrow. I can assure you, you already had it today. Yeah. In every conversation, it's Trump, 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 Trump. Okay, that's very nice. And we can complain about Trump, the way he does things, the way he tells things, the humiliation, he lays it on very thick. But that cannot exclude us or that does not exempt you from doing your own homework. And maybe we should focus on that. And then maybe in 5 years, we will say, thank you, Mr. Trump, for waking us up just in time to build a much stronger Europe and a united Europe. It can go either way. Either we unite or either globalization will die and we will be the victim of it.
Yeah.
I think the message there is clear. While he's talking about Europe, we in Africa can say the same about Africa. I think for many years, we have watched how, as much as Europe and America, or North America in general, have cooperated, they have not always treated those of us in the third world countries the same way. And therefore, then the advice is talking about there for the Europeans to do their own homework and start looking at what is in our own best interest is important. And I think Africa should really sit back and listen. Because I think the world, the way Trump has changed it, the world order has changed. We cannot expect the, the West in general to work in our own interest. As much as in the last world order, at least there was some pretense of that. In the new world order that Trump has introduced, where everyone is looking so much inward, I think we can expect now that Europe will be even less cooperative and sympathetic to Africa's problems. We should have done our own homework and start looking at what is really in the best interest of Africa. We have not done so. But that should not stop us doing it now. The need to do that homework is now more urgent than ever before.
I'm going to be a bit realistic on this. This question that Europe has asked itself is a very, very important question. And identifying some of the key issues that this gentleman has raised is equally important. The world order is changing. The invisible lines of battle between the West and and its allies versus Russia, China, and its allies is no longer invisible. It's now open to see. And now the Europeans have asked themselves an important question, and now they are now taking steps to try and figure a way out so that they can maintain their own well-being, both socially and politically. Then now you go to Africa. Here is the big problem, and I'm going to be realistic. Africa, there will be no discussion of this. Rather, we will continue blaming our wars on somebody else. When the world order changes, and it is changing, we will blame the West. Because we are so used of doing nothing and blaming, whether it be sanctions, whether it be rains, or we blame something. We have to blame something for doing nothing. And we have seen African leaders go into meetings singing praises to dictators, singing praises to somebody that has just murdered thousands of people to get into power. For example, we've seen it in Tanzania. We've seen it in Mozambique. We've seen it in Zimbabwe. Now, if you cannot address the small things and be frank with each other, how are you going to talk these big political issues? Our whole setup as Africa is all wrong. We have failed to call a spade and name each other by name. We call it diplomacy or whatever. I think that is the biggest stumbling block that we will find when things do take a big twist, of which that big twist is coming not in the, in the far future, very, very near. We will be caught praising each other, blaming the world for anything wrong and nothing done, and we'll be caught with our pants down. That's what Africa is all about. Let's be honest. We have never taken, Look, for example, when the COVID came and everything changed just like that, Africa had to wait to be given donations. They did not even make any strides in making, the vaccine or anything of that matter. This is where we are, and we have to be honest. And we'll probably find ourselves in this same very position when these things turn for the worse. And the signs and the symptoms are showing that the screws are being tightened by those that are in, higher authority. And when I mean higher authority, I'm talking of the big boys clubs. Yes, we can join their clubs. We can whether, choose to associate ourselves with the West, choose to associate ourselves with BRICS. But at the end of the day, the big boys make the decisions. And Africa will always be second fiddle because we have always been waiting for help, handouts, and no discussions that are meaningful. Sadly.
Yeah, the tragedy is President Donald Trump, with his America First, has broken the world order. And fixing it is going to take some time. And in that time, we in the third world countries, we have relied on international institutions like the UN, will be in serious trouble. If there was ever a time when we needed to step up and seriously fix our broken political systems in Africa, and in Zimbabwe in particular, that time is now. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good night.